It's time once again for another thrilling episode of Markout Radio. For the next hour, sit back, pull the stick out of your ass, and enjoy. Be warned though, smarks and internet know-it-alls will be offended, annoyed, and generally pissed off at what's about to happen to your ear holes. You've been warned. Now, Markout Radio.
Boys and girls, welcome back to Markout Radio Goes Nitro. Here once again, episode 25 for February 19th, 1996, Wacomico Civic Center, Salisbury, Maryland. Show is hosted by Eric Bischoff, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Steve Mongo McMichael. Dark matches this week. The Giant defeats Sting. The Nasty Boys, Knobs and Sags, defeat Public Enemy, Grunge, and Rock. Johnny B. Bad defeats Lex Luger to retain the WCW World Television Championship, in a dark match. Fuck. I mean, listen, Bad is getting a decent push, but he's defending the World Television Championship, not on television an awful lot. I mean, he is on Saturday night, so I guess it's not the worst, but you know what I mean. All right, In Your House was last night, drawing 5,500 people, so the post-pay-per-view Raw bump was in full effect. Raw had a 3.1 rating to Nitro's 2.9. There's 4,700 in attendance this week at the Wacomico Civic Center, with 3,800 actually paying to be there. Eric claims that it is capacity. Capacity is about 5,100, but with all their stages and all that other bullshit, I can believe it. I believe 4,700 is capacity-ish. The usual intro starts from your talking heads, Mongo claiming that Hogan has never lost to the same man twice in a row. Is that true? Let's find out, shall we? I always love hindsight 2020 going after Mongo especially. Let's see. Well, in 1988, he lost to Ted DiBiase in a tag team action on January 25th and 26th. In 86, he lost to Big John Studd, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and King Kong Bundy twice in a row when he was teaming with Big Machine and Super Machine on September 16th and 22nd. You'd think Heenan would remember that and correct Mongo. Moving on. He lost to Inoki 3 nights in a row in 6-man tags in 85 and 2 nights in a row in 84 twice. But those are all tags. Maybe Mongo grew a brain cell since Nitro started. I mean, if he did eat 2 pins in a row to somebody, it wouldn't be some ham and egg or some gimmick match, right? It would be a... Oh, well, isn't that embarrassing? Back-to-back losses against Andre. WCW Showdown at Shea in 1980 on August the 9th. And then again at Madison Square Garden, who goes there, on September 22nd, back-to-back losses against Andre during his initial run towards the title after he was quote-unquote stolen from the AWA. Anyways, on to the show. Arn Anderson with Woman defeats Hulk Hogan by DQ in 7 minutes 2 seconds. I gave that one 3 out of 5. A return match from last week's main event, just to build more tension between Hogan and the Horsemen, of course. A camera goes dead with Hogan trying to get down to ringside. Takes a little while for the production truck to realize it and switch off. Eric claims that there's some incessant whining coming from the northeast of the building, but we're not at war yet. Not for another 3 months. We're certainly getting passive-aggressive about a new litany of lawsuit threats, though. But we're not at war yet. Ultimately, the war would be great ratings for both companies, but in wrestling, it's been a bit of a downturn the last few years, and WWF is struggling. WCW might have an owner with deep pockets, but it's a publicly traded company, and they have VPs up their asses every second. And they can see in black and white, in the fucking ledgers, that Hogan is not generating the buzz that Eric had promised. So while the WWF is keeping their doors open and their heads above water and threatening legal action, Eric is searching for a miracle. And I think we all know that he's about to get 2. For now, though, we've got this weak-ass Hogan Savage versus the Horseman dungeon program, as Sullivan has somehow managed to get himself so close to being part of the main event booking committee, but it's still just Hogan and Bischoff who are taking notes from Flair at this point. 3 separate Hogan sucks chants break out among the crowd. There are some piped in cheers, which cannot be explained as the cameras pan the audience. Hogan slaps on a very sloppy figure 4. Probably should have practiced that a couple of times. And Sullivan and Savage come running down to ringside. Savage blasts Sullivan, and no one touches Hogan or Anderson. And you guessed it, our boy Nick Patrick calls for a disqualification. The end is fine, as it builds heat for what they're actually looking for, but Nick Patrick, you are the worst fucking referee in wrestling history. How you became this fucking head referee at WCW, Jesus fucking Christ. You know what? I will give him this. At least as the NWO ref, he was entertaining. His complete lack of ability to do his job actually worked in their favor when he was the NWO's ref. Anyways, we get a 1-800-COLLECT recap of this shit figure 4 with the no contact magical disqualification. I mean, again, it's a fucky end of the match where Anderson had to kill himself making Hogan look good. I mean, all 3 points that I'm giving are awarded to Arn.
Hogan hours sucked.
Loch Ness next. Nessie with Jimmy Hart in his corner defeats Alex Wright. Oh, the Twink is back. In 2 minutes, 21 seconds.
0.0.
Yeah, no score for that match. Jesus Christ. The Twink's about to catch a jobbing, and we have another camera malfunction as Wright makes his way down to the ring. And again, like, I know attraction wrestlers don't do much, but holy actual fuck, this was bad. For 2 minutes and change, Alex Wright blew himself up doing his offense. Loch Ness did like some weird, I don't know, clothesline push off of Wright, who oversold the shit out of it. But then he got back into his offensive horse, and Loch Ness just puts his foot up, kicks Alex Wright straight in the fucking gut/dick, and then it's over with one elbow drop. I mean, when they did the replay, they made it look like it was a much better match than it was. So really, really, props to the production team. Your raise will be spent on the next WWF talent that Eric scoops up. After this, we get a break with the WCW Saturday Night promo. And then we get the Belfast Bruiser defeating Brad Armstrong. Now listen, this is Fit Finlay and Bullet. Was it Bullet Bob? I don't even remember if it was Bullet Bob or Brad Armstrong. But anyways, one of those quote-unquote Armstrong boys. You know, WCW called anybody Armstrong that had a physique that looked sort of like the original Armstrong. And so the idea here is, and by Armstrong I mean Stretch. All right. I gave this match 3 out of 5. It was 6 minutes, 47 seconds. Again, Fit Finlay as the Belfast Bruiser here, making his Nitro debut against another Nitro newbie in Brad Armstrong in the Battle of the Long Curly Mullets. Few little botch spots here and there, but good crowd psychology overall, thanks mostly to Finlay calling spots like hell and working the heat enough that when Armstrong did make a comeback, he'd get a pop. Good showing for both wrestlers, but Finlay really shined in this. After this, we had Ric Flair with Miss Elizabeth and Woman as your WCW champion, defeating Randy Macho Man Savage to retain the title in 11 minutes, 23 seconds. I gave this one 4 out of 5. And not just because of my Flair and Savage mark, but because this was actually a good match. Sue me. I will give a good rating to a good match. It's got to be a good match, though. I'm not giving 5 stars to some flippy-dippy bullshit like some other Daves. Anyways, the announce team goes on and on and on and on about how intense Randy Savage is and how wound up he is and how strut out of a cannon he is and how he's his own worst enemy sometimes. And then Macho comes out to his music just walking down like it's another day at the fucking office. I mean, part of me wants to believe that the wrestlers can hear the announce team at Gorilla and he's just fucking with Bischoff at this point. I'm probably wrong, but let's be honest, that would be awesome. All right. Now, there's a weird spot where Flair grabs the bottom rope, which should break the figure 4 that Savage had on him. But instead, referee Nick fucking Patrick kicks Flair's hand off of it. I suppose the argument can be made here that, and listen, it's a bad faith argument, whatever, that Flair is trying to turn himself over to reverse the figure 4. But unless he actually does that, touching the bottom rope is a hold break. I mean, fuck. Nick Patrick really is the worst fucking referee in history. Anyways, there's a truly great chop, punch, back and forth spot here between the two of them that actually got me really invested in the match. The finish here was another Donnybrook of movement. So let's see. Let's see if I can get it all in. Whew. All right, here we go. Woman gets her shoe into the ring to Flair, but Savage instead grabs it and nails Flair with it, all without Eagle Eyes Nick Patrick, by the way, seeing anything. Sullivan runs down to the ring, grabs the shoe, tries to slide it into Flair, but by then Hogan has come down and he waffles him. In the meantime, though, Anderson slid into the ring behind Hogan and DDT Savage with his finisher and then rolls Savage over. Flair basically just flops his arm on top of Savage and gets the 1, 2, 3 quick count. Post-match, Hogan tosses Sullivan and Anderson into the ring, and once Flair recovers, instead of him laying a beating on them, they finally lay a beating on Hogan. Hallelujah, you guys actually know how to do your shit. Right? Now, that being said, it's about to get fucked, because Hogan and Savage are getting beat down by Flair, Anderson, and Sullivan. Until the Beaver comes back! He has shedded his Zodiac gimmick, and the announce team has no fucking idea what this new gimmick is called. Jesus Christ. Anyways, he's rocking the full-on 80s Beaver gimmick with the cutout parts of his tights and the long fucking tassels and shit, and the flowing fucking hair. I mean, it was glorious. Whatever. Post match, though, at the announce position, Flair and Anderson and Sullivan, who've been run out of the ring by Beaver, comes up to the announce position with the fucking broads in queue and starts cutting a promo on someone's headset. I can't remember whose they grabbed. I'm pretty sure it was Bischoff's. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was fucking Heenan's. That's right, because he took off like a fucking scalded cat. Anyways, he starts cutting a promo until Beaver comes and clears the announce position so that Hogan can come down and cut a promo. Now, listen. Before we listen and discuss yet another unintelligible Hogan promo, let's talk about Beaver for a second, because I've actually gotten some emails. I've got some emails asking me why I hate Brutus the Barber Beefcake. I don't. Listen, if you get your spot by being real life super best friends with Hogan, I don't care. Beaver's actually got a gimmick I like. I like Brutus the Barber Beefcake for whatever fucking reason, and I hate the Booty Man's promos, but I like the presentation and I like the wrestling because he's a solid mid-card wrestler. He actually is. Anyways, my problem with Ed Leslie is that he is the worst kind of sycophant. I mean, he was brought in with Hogan and made into the Zodiac because they had nothing else to do with him. Mostly he had decent matches, rarely stiffed anybody because he, in the ring anyways, is a professional. Now, he was only brought in because of Hogan, though. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole Linda Hogan's bullshit, Beaver's gay slur, because, frankly, who fucking cares? I don't care if they're close friends or more. It's no one else's fucking business. Beaver's a solid mid-card talent, despite what I think of him personally and how he does business outside of the ring. So instead of circling the drain in the Dungeon of Doom, because let's be honest, that's what the Dungeon of Doom is in 1996, he's circling the fucking drain, he's jumped up on another opportunity. Because he's Hogan's boy and knows how to play politics. Now, here's what I mean by that. Johnny B. Bad had actually dropped the TV title to Luger on September 17th at a house show. And then he regained the title the next night. Now, he lost the title because he was being difficult backstage. He didn't like what was going on in the storyline with him and Kim Page. He felt like, and let's admit it, he was right, she was stealing his spotlight from him. Let's remember, though, that Kim is Eric's neighbor and friend. Anyways, Eric allegedly had Luger go over to teach Bad that he was not fucking untouchable. You would think being the television champion having dark matches on Nitro would tell you that, but apparently not. Anyways, after the match, they had a long conversation, and he had Luger drop the title back to Bad the very next night, so that on Nitro, he would be the champion again. But of course, Eric being Eric, once you've pissed him off, he's like a woman and holds a fucking grudge. So instead of bygones being bygones, Eric one-upped the backstage politics, taking a page out of Hogan's fucked up book and had DDP interfere in the Bad Luger televised show on, I think it was Saturday night or main event. I can't remember which one. On March 9th. And he delivered a diamond cutter outside of the ring to Johnny B. Bad. Luger then pinned him for the title. Bad was released shortly thereafter, and he was picked up by the WWF a few days later once word got out. Now, for Kim, that meant needing to find a new wrestler for her to valet for. DDP did not like the idea of Kim being home alone all the time, and looking at her even today, who the fuck can blame him? She wasn't going to be able to valet for him anymore after their whole Vegas lottery, money, muddy storyline. So what's a nice, safe, allegedly person not interested in ridiculously hot women to put them with? Allegedly. Fucking calm down, Ed. Let's turn the Zodiac into the booty man and give him Paige as a valet. Brilliant! Kim's still on the road, so DDP's happy. Eric's literal next-door neighbor still has a job. Beefer's got a new gimmick that's more in keeping with his personality and just needs to hold the audience for a couple more weeks until the booty babe is freed up to become his booty valet. God, it's really hard not to sound like a total Fruit Loop just saying that out loud, all right? What? Yeah, shut up. Anyways, back to Hogan's promo where Bischoff quivers while holding his headset up for Hogan to talk into the wrong side of the microphone on. He does manage to get the booty man's name in there a lot. And then eventually Gene comes down to provide a live mic that no one manages to speak directly into. I mean, this must have been a fucking nightmare for the production team. I can just imagine some poor intern with her fingers on the slider level just trying desperately to make sure we can hear without having her eardrums blown the fuck out.
Well, that was an abortion of a show. Should the mood take you, check out markoutradio.com and leave a comment. You can also find links there to our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Stitcher channels. You can even leave a voicemail on our Skype. Just click the links and share them.